Hello and welcome to the Dark Mount video review for Transformers Generations Combiner Wars Motormaster. So Motormaster's vehicle mode is a bit of a departure from his G1 self, partially because his mold was designed to also be shared with Prime, so I guess they took some liberties there, but obviously he does not include a trailer like generally Motormaster is expected to, and instead of being black and purple, he's kind of more of like a silverish gunmetal and purple, so definitely not the strongest G1 resemblance, but it's obviously Motormaster. I mean, especially when you see him with the rest of the Stunticons, there's very little question about who he's supposed to be. It's just a shame that they, I guess, couldn't figure out a way to incorporate a cab into this. I don't know. I don't design toys, so I can only make guesses, but I like the mold. I did not own or purchase the original release of this mold in the first wave, which was Optimus. So this is my one and only version of this mold until I get more later, which I believe is probably going to happen. For a size comparison, here he is with the Fans Project Motormaster in his kind of short bus configuration. So obviously this is a much more G1-esque representation of what Motormaster is supposed to look like. But all in all, I mean, they're about the same exact size, really. I mean, if you're including front to end and not including this weapon stuff, they're about the exact same length. And just another random size comparison, just to help get a sense of scale. Transformation here is pretty simple. Obviously, start off just taking this stuff off for now. Then, what you want to do is kind of loosen that up. This tabs into these two side bits, clip onto the sides of the legs, like that. This panel right here on both sides needs to come undone. Sometimes takes some wiggling. You're gonna split this whole thing. These fold around like so. These fold around like so. And then this folds up onto the side. So again, fold that around. And then this part folds up onto the side like that. Then you want to straighten up the abs. Fold that back. Straighten up the legs. Come down here. Pop the feet down. Split the legs apart. And press on either side of this and it'll flip around and reveal the head. Then you just want to re-secure this back on, like so. There you have Motormaster in his robot mode. So for his robot mode, I am going to touch on the problem that everyone is having, and that is his hip joints. I'm sure you've heard this a million times already if you've watched reviews, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But basically, he is one of the figures, and we've had several of these recently, and it's kind of a bummer, where the hip joints are either like straight down or like straight out, like craziness. So there's really no good in between. So he's either standing very, very stiffly, or that's the next ratchet out. The new release of this guy that's coming out soon, also the Battlecore Prime, and I feel like maybe the Takara release or something, all have fixed ratchet joints, so he stands perfectly like this, which is nice. This also kind of creates a bit of an issue in the combined mode, since it makes his legs kind of... We'll get into that later, but this is not good in multiple situations, but it is fixed in the new releases of this mold, but that kind of leaves everyone who bought the first wave version screwed. but does not bother me because I'm not going to just pose him standing like that anyway, because people usually don't stand with their legs locked like that. So what I have been doing with this guy is clicking both of his legs forward once, clicking both of his legs out once, and then, actually, forward twice, sorry. And then using his knees to position him in a more natural way anyway, because that is really generally how someone would stand. So it doesn't really end up bugging me at all, because I think once he is all posed up, he actually ends up looking pretty awesome. So I don't necessarily think that it's a problem that he can't like stand with his legs straight and at an angle, because I do genuinely feel like that looks pretty decent. He doesn't look like he's hunched over or anything, so it really doesn't bug me. For me, it's all toys are going to pose a little bit differently depending on how their internal mechanisms and stuff work, so it's just about finding that sweet spot and finding a good dynamic pose for them. So it doesn't really bug me at all. Some people are really upset about it, but if you are think you're going to be upset about it, buy one of the later versions of this mold and then it won't be a problem for you. So there's that. Here he is next to Fans Project's Diesel, or their Motormaster from their Function X M3 Intimidator, whatever. I never know what the hell to call that thing. Their version of Venusaur. Yeah. I like both of these a lot, but I love the FP set, so I'm a little biased. But I really do like this guy. I like his head sculpt a lot. It's pretty fantastic. And here we have finally Motormaster with the rest of the stunt cons. And for one last size comparison, here he is duking it out with Bumblebee. Articulation for this figure is fairly decent. You have full rotation here, very, very heavy ratchets in and out, an upward leg, or upper arm swivel, kind of a super double jointed thing going on for the elbow, so all kinds of stuff you can do there. You only have that for the hand. Leg, kind of an ab crunch. If you unhook this thing back here, you have like a backwards ab crunch for transformation. I don't know why you would want that necessarily, but swivel in the waist, ratcheted hips, leg rotation, very decent knee, and then like kind of toe, foot. And then the head is on a ball joint that is actually surprisingly expressive for a giant box head. So, good on them. And the head sculpt itself is pretty great. That's a pretty fantastic head sculpt, I believe, at least. My final thoughts on this guy are pretty positive. He's definitely got some weaknesses. There's some issues with his jointage up there. He's got a little bit more weakness in terms of his combine mode. Doesn't look super great, and it's got some connectivity issues that we'll talk about later in our next video. But all in all, I think he's a really decent figure. I don't know why these are there. There's like weird cutouts that kind of look like the weird holes in like old school razor blades, and this side is different than that side. It's very random. Musings, but yes, I like him a lot. I actually like him a lot more than Takara's. Takara's looks really bland, and it's like all black and has really minimal paint apps, and I know they're going for a more G1 cartoon accuracy, but I actually think Hasbro did a better job with bringing out the mold details and all that, so that's just my 2 cents. Either way, I don't think you can go wrong with this mold, and he's coming out in like 5 different colors and stuff, so you can get him in this version, Optimus Prime version, Battle Core White Optimus Prime, or the G2 version of this, and I don't know, maybe something else later too. So it's a good mold, whatever you get, but I do really like the Motormaster version of it. So off next, I'm going to do a short blackjack, just to kind of get him out of the way. He's simple, and then we'll get into combining Menasor. See you guys next time. Please like and subscribe.